in my hands is a CD that I've never listened to in my entire life, and this documentary will be the journey of me listening to this album. I have not opened it yet. Technically, I've listened to 2 of the tracks on the album, which we'll get to in a minute. Okay, so there's this YouTuber called Bucket of Jake. A Bucket of Jake? Something like that. And a month ago, he released a brand new single called Belly Laugh. This was the first track for the album Dummy, which is in here. Then a little bit later, he released a song called Is It Magic? Both of these singles I absolutely loved, and so I figured, what better way to experience an album firsthand than to buy the CD. Normally I would buy a CD after listening to the album, but I genuinely have no clue what this album is about. I only know 2 of the songs and the vibe of those 2 songs. So you're going to join me on this journey as we explore this independent artist's album together. The album is called Dummy. The question is, how do I bumped the mic. I am so sorry if the audio quality just tanked. Yeah, so I basically had an hour-long deep dive finished. It just literally will not export, and I've been trying to figure it out for the past 2 weeks. And it's almost been a month since the last video, so I figured we'd do a little fun thing while I figure out what in the world is happening with the export. Okay, I'm gonna open this up. Ooh, all right, I've opened it. That looks so freaking good. Oh my gosh. Super hi-fi infrared type beat. It's so hard to see with the glare. I'll try to get a better photo or better like visuals for this part, but oh, yo, hold up. Okay, so something I'm realizing with this cover art, the closer you look at it, you actually find the tracks. So up here we have dummy.wav, we have and now I'm dancing.wav. They're hidden in the cover art, so Belly Laugh is right here, but you get it. There's literally the tracks are hidden everywhere, and then the album name is hidden here in the corner. Wow, it's like a scavenger hunt. That is so cool. Wow, I'm really impressed. Thanks for purchasing the Dummy CD. I am forever grateful for your support. I got like a little thing in the back of here. Let's open this and see how it works. So you have the album here. Oh, without the glare, it looks even better. Focus on the Dummy's face, not me. Okay, we have the back cover, which has, I assume, all the track list. We got the fancy track list, and then if you turn it like this, we get like the actual track list right there. Released independently under Jake Joseph. Did I even say it was Jake Joseph? This is Jake Joseph's new album that just released like a month ago. Fun fact, I've never listened to Jake Joseph unless you count like a month ago. This is my first experience to this artist besides the 2 singles that got me really interested. Oh, that's a cool CD. It's like a different infrared, but it's more simple. That's cool. Dummy Jake Joseph. And then the cover has a message on it. It says, big life events coincided with the creation of this album. I found myself living in isolation while making this music. I thought this album would be my For Emma forever ago, but the isolation manifested into a hyper-aggressive sound that I found myself gravitating toward in my reflection. I went from feeling sorry for myself to making something that almost required motion to consume. Move, dance, run, jump, expel energy to this music. It's okay to be dumb. So I was going to wait to talk about this, but one thing that really intrigued me about the first single, Belly Laugh, is that it is aggressively atmospheric to the point where it's almost industrially atmospheric. It like blends industrial and atmospheric sounds in a way that I've never really heard before, or at least very rarely have heard before. And that style really intrigued me because I love both of those things. So I thought that was a really cool combination. So the track list is Dummy, the opening track, JPEG Raw, Crocodile Tears, Is It Magic, Now It's Not the Same, Nail Gun, Massive Attack, I'm Slowly Turning Into You, and Now I'm Dancing. When I am an old woman, I shall wear purple. Yo, shout out Purple. Who has nothing to do with this album. Oh, I forgot the cards. I forgot to talk about the cards. Dummy for Dummies. Whoa. Oh, it's a little booklet. Yo, hold on. Before we even... Oh, that's cool. So it's literally purple folded up paper. It's like a piece of purple paper that's folded up into a little booklet. That is so cool. So Dummy for Dummies by Jake Joseph. What is Dummy? Dummy is the 2026 studio album by Jake Joseph, me, released independently. This album comes after 2024's Preparing Myself to Deal with a Miracle, which we'll probably talk about at some point, but I haven't even heard that album, honestly. This album was created out of isolation. A major life event left me lost and angry while I tried to change every aspect of my life. Dummy is the product of that confusion and anger, and was translated into a distorted and subtly optimistic third album. So this is Jake Joseph's third album. Good to know. The noise music was a very big inspiration to me. The confrontational nature of harsh and abrasive sounds aided in the emotion I was trying to convey when making Dummy. Even the more introspective moments on the album have elements of distortion on them, and that sound made me excited. I love distortion, so I'm very excited to finally listen to this album in full. I wanted to make music that you had to make a stank face to while listening. The ultimate test for the tracks was how energetic I got while working them out. This album is a labor of love. Thank you for listening. And then we got the track list. On page 3, we got the inspirations. I Lay Down My Life for You. Classic. We talked about JPEG in the last video. No secret if you follow my output, but this is one of my favorite albums of all time and inspired the DNA for what Dummy would become. The loud and in-your-face sound of this album was exactly what I needed at that point in time. Specifically, the track New Black History inspired the sound for this album. That is a good song. That's a good standout track for that album. The breakdown at the end where JPEG Mafia and Flume co-produced this fire alarm noise beat was the switch flipping for me. That's how I wanted my album to make others feel. So if I remember right, that project or that song at the end, in the extended version of the album, I believe it became its own song, and that song was very much a standout track for me for that album. So honestly, that's very fair. It's such a good standout beat for JPEG's catalog. My affinity for guitar solos were birthed listening to this album, and I wasn't not shy about implementing them on almost every song. Yeah, that I loved the rock additions to JPEG's album. That was, oh man, those were hype. Those were so good. We saw glimpses of that in Offline with end credits, and that was a standout track. So to get a lot more of that energy in future JPEG projects, I was so hyped for that. I was so excited for it. Blonde. Believe it or not, production choices on songs like White Ferrari and Pretty Sweet directly influenced multiple songs, and I'm honored to add to the list of people inspired to this masterpiece. So I wish kind of more artists did this, where they listed their inspirations, because I feel like for me, a lot of my inspirations when I make music, it's like Perry Mason, Gal the Arsonist, JPEG Mafia, obviously, and a bunch of artists like that who are trying to be more unique in the space. And I don't know, this addition to the album is really cool to see. I've also never listened to Blonde still, even though it's been a decade. I need to listen to it. I need to get around to it. Revelator, another album that aided the in-universe building, was the eerie, distorted, and I can't freaking read. Oh my gosh. Another album that aided in-universe building was the eerie, distorted, and cold world Elucid created on this album. So I've heard of Elucid before, and I tried listening to Elucid, I think a year or two ago, and I couldn't get into it, but I need to give Elucid another chance because I've heard very good things. So that's good to know. I probably need to listen to that album. Multiple songs left me with a feeling, how did he manage to combine these sounds effectively? This album made the prospect of combining noise and abrasion with traditional song structure while still maintaining its abstract presence possible, and it was the album on repeat most when creating Dummy. Baby. After seeing Dijon perform this album in New York, I became convinced he's a future legend in music. This album influenced both the sound and the emotions of Dummy. The use of abrasiveness, production styles, and clipping in the more traditional ballads and pop songs Dijon makes was very eye-opening to me, showing even the most minimal or emotional tracks could be distorted, but most importantly, the emotion. He listens to music like I listen to music, and with his whole body, I felt a connection seeing him contort his body and strain his voice while performing his music, because that is how I want my music to be consumed at 100%. While creating Dummy, the music seemed colorful to me. I wanted the visuals for the album to be so bright and colorful you almost couldn't look away. That was what stood out to me with the music videos, and obviously the cover art. Oh, it's obviously an infrared camera, but it looks so good. Oh my gosh. the sound and the tone, the style that this album is going for. It works so well. So I'm so hyped to listen to this album. Thermal imaging cameras seemed like a no-brainer in this instance, being something I've always wanted to brand an album around. Dummy felt like the right time to use this style. A word I kept using while making this was melting. The music felt like it was melting off the bone to me. And a $300 thermal phone attachment helped me achieve that feeling on the front cover. Music so hard, it's like dumping lava on yourself. It's a fun art style. I love the aesthetic of this album already. Like, I already get the vibe of it without even listening to the album, and that's why I'm really excited to listen to this, to hear the full fleshed out creative vision of this. Frequently asked questions. How long did this take to make? A little over a year after all the mixing and mastering was completed. The albums take a long time. If you streamline the process, it can take from a few months to years. It kind of just depends on how much of a perfectionist you are. And yeah, the last album I made, it took me 6 months. But it was also because it was a very seasonal project, so it kind of made sense. The 6 month timeline kind of made sense for the project. Are there any uncleared samples? No, officer. That is funny. So does that mean that there are samples on this project? That's going to be interesting to kind of dive into. What's the difference between Dummy and your other albums? The embrace of distortion and noise was something I tried to harness instead of avoid or attempt to fix like previous works. So jumping into the more distorted style, I love albums like that, the super gritty nature of it. So that's going to be good to look forward to, like kind of embracing the flaws instead of trying to fix them, you know? That's something I've also been trying to do in my own music. Honestly, that's been kind of fun to kind of experiment with. If you could describe this album in 3 words, what would they be? Grimy, abrasive, elegance. Honestly, grime is a very interesting concept. If you at all listen to Gal the Arsonist, spoiler alert, that's what the video was on, the hour-long video. Grime is talked about a little bit in that, but yeah, I'm a little bit familiar with it, but Gal the Arsonist really tried to embrace that with the Degenerate EP, which is really good. So I'm excited to hear how this sounds. New music when? Planning on dropping a B-Sides project on Bandcamp before the end of the year. Sweet. So we can expect that in the future. So one of these days, I'm going to go through the entire catalog of Jake Joseph. I don't know if today's that day. Today's kind of opening it, and we'll see where we go from here. Thank you for purchasing the Dummy CD. I am forever grateful for your support. Jake Joseph, shout out. So I guess the next step is to actually listen to the album, right?